Alright, one thing y'all might notice is that I tried to do everything the legal way and was prevented from doing so by officers. Officers prevented me from making a report. Officers repeatedly pretended like I was trying to kill myself in order to not have to take a report. Officers repeatedly lied to me about taking my report, and they did this nationwide. Kept on telling me that they'll take my report once we get to the hospital. Then when we get to the hospital, they all dip out. That's the problem. See, when I was assaulted at the Longmont Hospital, it was because I was continuing to try to get the officers there to keep their fucking word. When the officers in Boulder, Colorado assaulted me, they were supposed to be taking me somewhere safe to make a police report. They were supposed to be taking me to make a police report to a very specific officer. That officer's name is Abel Ramos. Abel Ramos is sick now. I don't know what he's sick with, but I'd sure like to find out. These tactics are used America-wide to victimize people who cannot defend themselves. Most of the people who are homeless have disabilities that they need help with, but their families are heartless. Their families don't care enough about them to find out what's going on. And as a result, they get cycled through the system. Every time there's a space open up in the jail, they fill them with one of these mentally ill people. Problem is, they're not mentally ill, they're mentally disabled. They have a disability. Many of those disabilities stem from PTSD, that's post-traumatic stress disorder. There's a lot of people who grew up in the system who have that particular disorder. Now me, I'd like to be able to sit down in a calm environment, not be rushed, have access to all the evidence that was stolen, and sit down and just do what I need to do. The problem is that everywhere that I go, I have officers standing in the way of that. Police officers. Police officers who should have taken a report about the harassment by the Bollingers and their friends and family. The threats against others for trying to help me. The bullying. These things are apparently acceptable as long as you do them to a white male or anybody who tries to help a white male in a situation like this. I've already proven that I didn't stalk Natalie. I've proven that time and again with her own words. I also proved that her family was the one stalking me. I proved that time and again with their own words. They were the ones harassing me. They did it in private message. I spoke out in public. It is my First Amendment right to do so. And yeah, Facebook, I've been on plenty of Facebook bans, but Facebook does not observe your First Amendment rights to freedom of speech. A lot of the slander and harassment against me is still on the internet. Many of those people had time to destroy that evidence because the police wouldn't take a look and wouldn't take a look and wouldn't take a look. There's also other people who took part in it that I got the screenshots, so it doesn't matter if they destroy it. However, if I complain about those people and the harassment, then that harassment gets taken away. It disappears. That evidence is gone. I took a lot of screenshots for this purpose. Sorry, kids. The fact is, I saved lives for a reason. I helped people for a reason, because the police aren't going to do a damn thing when you're homeless. They're not going to help you. They don't care about you. You're jail fodder. You're the reason they have a job. They don't have a job to go after child molesters. Otherwise, they'd have gone after Andrew Witcher and Ted Bollinger and Tim Beeson. I provided ample evidence of what these men did. The problem is getting an officer to take a look at it. I'm not going to stop speaking out because it would be wrong for me to do so. It's wrong to allow these things to happen to others. And that's why I spoke out for years when it happened to others. I believe in doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. But sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. I'm not going to feel bad for the things that I had to do. I'm going to give you the example of disability. You got a man in a wheelchair. Now he's got a task he's got to take care of, and he's got to travel for a whole block. Doesn't seem like much, does it? Well, as he starts pushing his wheelchair, you start putting roadblocks in front of him. So now he's got to go around the block. Well, you block him off that way too. Then you tell him that because he hasn't been able to make it down to where he needs to go, which is probably the police station, because he hasn't made it there, that he must not be trying. He's not making an effort. So you take away his wheelchair, and then he's stuck there. So then you arrest him for loitering because he can't go anywhere because you took away his wheelchair and blocked him off on all sides. That's what happened to me. Putting all these roadblocks in front of me, that these legal footnotes that make it so that a police officer doesn't have to do his job, and he's not held responsible for the actions that are that come about as a result of that. Slandering my name nationwide, actually literally worldwide, that's fine, isn't it? Thing is, I didn't have to slander anybody's name. And the few people whose name that I did slander, well, they slandered mine first, so we'll have fun with that. As far as the subjective slander, well, if it's subject to interpretation, it's not slander. Isn't that how it goes in your minds? Now, Miss Peaches, the things that I had to say about her that she decided she didn't want to be friends with me after, well, she should have kept her word. Just like everyone else. Now, Miss Peaches did learn a lot. And she would be able to help people who are autistic based on what she knows. But she's still got those hardcore assumptions that she holds on to. She also gets to see her family. She gets to see her friends. She gets to see her loved ones. She has a roof over her head and plenty of help. And if she wants to sit back and relax and smoke a bowl of marijuana to calm down at the end of the day, she's allowed. If she wants to sit down and play video games for 4 hours at the end of the day, she's allowed. If somebody disagrees with her, there's Raja there to argue. And that's the point here. There's no such thing as the Constitution. Your rights are based on money. Donald Trump has rights. I do not. Because of the slander by the Bollingers and their friends and family, I was harmed for over a year before Natalie was killed. And because of the continued slander, I have been unable to get an honest day in court. No police officer will take my report. No officer has. That one officer who pretended like he was going to because Molly Smith went in, well, they had already been well entrenched in protecting one of their fellow officers, which is why I needed to get someone to go in with me. They were trying to protect Officer Jordan Anderson. But later on, they were protecting themselves because of the things that they did to protect Officer Jordan Anderson. When I tried to let these officers know what was going on before Natalie's death, I got blown off. After Natalie's death, I got blown off some more. That's the point, is that it doesn't matter how right I am. It doesn't matter how honest I am, because of the term mentally ill.